Okay. Ooh, God damn it. Phone dinged at me just as I went live. Took me by surprise. That's Aidsy saying he's joining. Nice. Now, this live stream going simultaneously to YouTube and Facebook. So we'll see what that's like. I did actually do it to my Facebook page. There you go. Steve's on Facebook. Megaleech and Fox of Fate on YouTube. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't see that, Steve. Your finger slipped. You're Faday instead of G'day. Yes. So, yeah, this is only the second time I've done this multi-streaming thing. Let's see what goes. Hey, PBR. Yeah, I think technical issues notwithstanding. What's that? Oh, God. Mimsy's found a bag behind me. Let's see if you can see her. She's wandering around. She found a paper bag behind me. Oh, Steve, you're on the way to the office. Where in the world are you at the moment? So I know you move around a bit. I don't know if you've been moving around lately. I'm just behind the turns. What's she doing now? God, it's like she thinks someone dropped some food on the floor. Which is actually a fair bit in the kitchen. But yeah, she's just stalking around the floor like she's looking to see if there are any tasty tips. You're in Washington, D.C. Is it very early in the morning for you? Going to the office very early? Fox, you got a green apple and hibiscus gin. Nice. It's become very trendy. There are, oh, wait, no, sorry, he's waving at me.
Yeah.
There he is.
Hey, how you going? I thought I wasn't allowed to play there for a second. Hello, good people. How you doing? Thank you very much for letting me be on your device. And thank you very much for joining us this morning, this evening, today. Hey.
Yes.
There was a person last time we did this calling me a nonce a lot. What is that? I don't even know.
It's English slang for a pedophile.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Where's that come from?
The actual source of it, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I've glued my teeth in, they might not come out.
Well, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're streaming to both Facebook and YouTube tonight. New feature.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, new feature. These guys just are feature adding crazy.
They
at
are.
StreamYard, I just think they might go, you know what? I'm not going to a job today. I'm going to add a new feature.
Yeah.
You know, they might be just those guys who don't sleep. You know, they might go to a job and then they might go, I don't feel like sleep. I feel like adding a new feature. And they might be assisted, right? As I get myself in the middle of a camera. And or they might just be young and be on lots of vitamins.
Young and Mountain Dew, I reckon.
Senpaku is really bad. It's full on, you know.
Yeah.
Senpaku, by the way, is the amount of white that she's showing in your eyes. If it's
okay.
Senpaku that is on the lower side,
yeah,
it's means that you have trouble with yourself. If you have Senpaku that's on the top of your eyes, it means you have trouble with other people. And if you have Senpaku that's right around your eyes, it means you're a fucking nutter.
Thanks for dropping by, Steve. Steve's just on his way to work in Washington, D.C. Transferring
on
train.
How you doing? Hope DC's good today. And they're really I hope they, hands across the aisle. So they can get stuff done next day.
Yeah.
Please ask them nicely. because it's fucking
get their shit together.
Over here in Australia, shops are shutting. I'm not shitting you.
Yeah. We're suffering a bit. Yeah, I'm going to try something with my.
Comrade, how are you?
Things are a bit quiet.
Quiet. All right. Well, my mic is good. It's saying things to me. And you're screwing something into a thing.
Yeah.
You've captured another UFO, and
yes,
you've got to stop doing that, or intergalactic peace is going to be shat on. We've talked this through. You should be calling the UN, not bloody just hiding them in your backyard with little animals going, please feed me. I need uranium. I need uranium. Please feed me. And just don't give them just yellow paint, though that would work because it's full of uranium.
Yes. I just remembered something because you got so into the research project on incels. I think because that was so well because you got such a head of steam on that. I think I need to give you more warning than just say do it now. But for another stream, I think might get you to do it again, and we'll use it for a podcast. So you literally like take the handbrake off and let you go. I know I sort of paused you after about 20 minutes last time because I just want to say hello to some people, but I just like really just, handbrake off down a very steep hill, and because you had fuel and fire going with the whole incel story.
Well, I've got about 5 minutes today. I've got it. I've got it a bit tighter. I thought that might be a little bit more, because then we can do other stuff, Like I was going for half an hour last time, which was good, but it's like it's a quarter of the show, and there's people that we can talk to. And no, I've got to do it on the correct hand. There's people we can talk to. That's really weird. I've got to go like that.
I know it's often. Can you see? I'm putting beautiful light on myself from this gold brick that someone sent me. I just realized how reflective it was. I can put some nice golden light on myself. Reflective kitchen light.
It makes you look good, actually.
Yeah, golden.
We might do that. We might yellow you up next time we get in front of proper lights.
Yeah,
because that makes you look a bit sexy, actually.
Yeah, I could put a big bit of yellow cellophane between these lights that always bleach me out so much. Chantel's asking, oh my God, you're on Facebook. What happened to YouTube? Thanks to the magic of StreamYard, Chantel, we are actually live simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube. That's a new thing. That's a new thing.
You gotta love that.
There's always been multi-streaming platforms, but they're really difficult to use.
Yeah. I've become really jerky, and my camera has, it's become completely frozen up. Do you see me okay?
I see you've frozen you, but I can hear you quite well. So, now I don't hear you anymore. Looks like we've lost AIDSy. All right, I'm going to drop. Not that I've got a real aversion. I've got to remember to just. Whoop. No, I just heard your voice for a second, but then it went away. Yes, AIDSy's having technical issues at his end. He's probably going to go reboot. He might be gone for a little while. Yes, Megaleech, I could use the uranium paint. What's uranium paint? I don't know. Safa, I hope we do bring you interesting entertainment tonight.
Hello.
Oh, what?
We're back.
No, I can hear you, and there's a black screen.
Hear me. And I'm just talking like midnight radio.
Can you hear me? You can't even hear me? All right, he needs to reboot. So we will see. Oh, that's the bit rough. Well, yes. PBR, AIDSy's been abducted by little green gremlins. Hopefully, we will get him back. That's not looking good at the moment. Yellow paint Megaleech. Yeah, I mean, I could just put yellowish or even flesh-coloured light in front of me. I'm just being really lazy. It's, those halogens, the wrong word for the, those downlights they put in lots of kitchens. Safi, you're in Melbourne Friday and Sunday. What were you up to in Melbourne? Oop, now Chantel's having a problem with not being able to hear in headphones. Everyone's having technical problems. I'm not even. I'm feeling brave and using Wi-Fi. I didn't even connect the cable to my laptop. We'll see how that goes. I might end up regretting that. I'll have to play it by ear. Where can I can read and post. I can read and post. That's interesting. I'm just seeing. Okay, if I want to, I could put this on Periscope as well, which is, of course, the Twitter thing, or LinkedIn, which would be crazy because I actually have my job stuff on LinkedIn. And this shit's not going to help me get a job. Megaleech, fleshlights, yes. Asafa, any good shopping in? There you go. Oh, Comrade Dad's got a cough, but you did get a new airbrush compressor for your birthday. Nice. What are you? Are you a model painter, an artiste? For what purpose do you use the airbrush? Hey, Will, how's it going? Safi, yes, traffic was crazy on Saturday in particular, not just because of the construction, not just because of PAX, but also because there were protests in the city. So traffic around the city was shot to hell on Saturday in particular. I was actually in the city on Saturday. And traffic was shot to hell. Did I say hello, Will? I hope I said hello, Will. I'm saying hello, Will, now if I didn't before. Oh, nice. Yes. Oh, do you do it on commission, Comrade Da? Painting 40K Warhammer miniatures and D&D. Nice. Oh, Cypher, it's good to get a look at the shops if you're out of town. I know because I grew up in the country, and like once a year we go on holidays up the coast, and the big excitement was the trip to Newcastle, which I think is like the biggest non-capital city in Australia. By international standards, quite a small city. By country standards, pretty big city. And it was very exciting to check out the shops on Hunter Street in Newcastle. Newcastle's this weird city where almost everything, like almost all the shops and stuff, that's probably changed now, but 70s and 80s, everything was on Hunter Street. It was just this very long strip of shops. Went on for miles and miles. Not that common in Australia to have that setup happening. But Newcastle had it, Hunter Street. Chantel's going third time's the charm, trying to do it on Facebook. There you go. Now Chantel's on YouTube. That might work better. I don't know. And hello, Luke. Safa coming back for Sexpo. And Abigail. Where, are you from Newcastle, Abigail, or are you living there now? Because I know we've hung out in Melbourne. So I thought you were in Melbourne. But Safa is... Oh, see, Albury's a much smaller town than Newcastle. But yeah, it's a bit more common in country towns to have like one main strip of shops. But Newcastle Hunter Street was very long. Steve, you're back. You've done your transfer. Nice to see you, mate. Comrade, yeah, if you're from the country, as I was, Melbourne traffic would be pretty horrific. I'm very used to it because I lived in Sydney 10 years before I lived in Melbourne. And Sydney traffic's really aggro compared to Melbourne. Hey, Justin, how's it going? Oh, Abigail, you're just applauding Newcastle. You like it as a city. That's fine. I have not been to Newcastle. I visited for an event. Fuck me, I don't know, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Somewhere between 20 and it's been over 20 years since I've been to Newcastle. Anyway. Chantal, you find the trams in Melbourne scary. It takes a little bit of getting used to the trams in Melbourne. One of my early times driving in Melbourne, it had been raining. And the tram tracks, there's two sort of sometimes the tram tracks are just on the same lane that cars use. So if there's a tram ahead of you, you're just stuck behind it, and you've got to eventually hope for an area where you can pass it. You can be stuck behind them for a very long time. And other times, the trams have their own bit. There's like a lane going one way, then the tram tracks, and a lane going the other way. That's much preferable, because when it rains, if you're on one of the bits with the tram tracks are incredibly slick and your tires don't get a very good grip on them. And the first time you drive on tram tracks in the rain is scary AF. It is not a pleasant experience. Chantel, hook turns as well. My partner, Mrs. Angry, she refuses to use hook turns. She'll go around a block rather than do a hook turn, even though she's lived in Melbourne for 20 years. So some people just never like hook turns. That's all about the trams as well. Yes, you're right, Justin. Albury's like the halfway. Well, it's halfway between Sydney and Melbourne, but yeah, it's right on the border, New South Wales, Victoria. Albury, Wodonga. Albury on the New South Wales side of the border, and Wodonga on the Victorian side of the border. Yeah, I guess there are some concrete roads in Melbourne, Safa. They're mostly bitumen, normal, as the saying goes. I'm trying to straighten my beard, and I always get it wrong because it's not a mirror. It's turned around. And like most humans, when I see a version of myself, I'm used to it being a mirror, and I know how to react to that. But like I got my right hand up, and it's on the left hand, on the left-hand side of my screen. So it's a bit of a worry. Yes, musical aviator is true. With hook turns, only 3 or maybe 4 cars can turn at a red light. But the hook turns are for trams to stop vehicles who are turning right from blocking trams. Someone a long time ago decided the free movement of trams was more important than the free movement of cars turning right. And I agree. Massively. Will Hart, just having Pepsi, the new creaming soda Pepsi. I was going to say it's really, really sweet, and it's not, because there's no sugar. It's just the chemicals that give you the illusion of sweet go into overdrive on this creaming soda flavor. Probably going to mix a drink for the second half, or when I finish this. And I've already kind of decided I'm going to have moonshine and banana liqueur. So banana apple pie moonshine for the second half. There used to be a really bad roundabout near Royal Melbourne Hospital. It had like 5, 6 on roads, and it was a real nightmare to go down. It's another thing Mrs. Angry would go out of her way to avoid, but they changed the setup, so it's all governed by traffic lights now, which is far less stressful than just trying to work out roundabout rules. Megalich, you finished a bottle of what? Moonshine or banana liqueur? Oh my God, I just realized something. Ugh. I bought a little thing of banana liqueur the other day because I thought it was out, but I actually have, God, I've got so much banana liqueur now. Oh well, say la vie. Make banana cake with it or something. Abigail, you be resting after spending your time at PAX, but you only got 7 hours sleep all weekend. I hope you didn't get sick. After VidCon, I got super sick, like stomach virus. Oh, it was like 12 hours of thinking I was going to die, followed by 12 hours of not seeing much point in living, and then a couple of days recovery after. Oh, you mean Pepsi Max Mega Leech? Sorry. You mean Pepsi Max. Chantel, you accidentally bought sugar-free. I always get sugar-free drinks. I almost never drink sugar drinks. So on the occasions when I do, I really notice it. Hey, Big Pat. How you doing, buddy? Oh, yes, the cop car that hit a tram. I saw a photo of it on social media. Rather hilarious when cops fuck up and cause an accident. And their car got really smasherooed by the tram. Because here's the thing. Even when trams aren't going particularly quickly, they have enormous mass behind them. So they can cause a lot of damage. And there's been multiple cases of people being killed by trams that weren't going that fast. The person thought they could run past the front of the tram, whether they misjudged the speed of the tram or they thought the tram would stop. But the tram can't stop very quickly, even though it feels like it when you're on it. They don't stop instantly. And yes, it doesn't happen that often, but it happens. People get killed by trams. Good Spirit, I've been well. How have you been doing? Safa, there is a small light rail thing in Sydney. I think they kind of deliberately avoid calling it trams because they don't want people to say they're copying Melbourne. I think they call it light rail. I think there's a limited transit light rail. But yes. Abigail, no PAX box, just chronic fatigue. Oh my God, I was so lucky because the sickness that I got from VidCon hit me like 3 a.m. When it's the old both ends routine. I will spare you any more graphic detail than that. But let's just say the vomiting was so violent, I pulled a muscle in my back. So that wasn't fun to recover from either. But on the last day, the Sunday of VidCon, I was about to hang out with some people and probably drink and probably have more than a couple of drinks. And I don't know, something in me, I wasn't feeling sick, but something in me just went, yeah, I don't think I'm up to it. I don't think, I'm just going home. Fuck it. And I saved myself. Like on top of this illness, if I had alcohol in my system as well, that would have been catastrophic. That would have been absolute nightmare. And I missed it by this much. Like I was seriously going to knock back a couple of drinks and decided not to. My God, that would have been a fucking nightmare if I had been drunk as well as sick. I just really would have wanted to die at that point. Oh my God, that was so lucky because I don't know what it was. It probably was the first sort of onset of the sickness was just making me go, I've got no energy. I don't want to do this. But I got home and I didn't feel sick. I was just went to bed and then I just woke up like my stomach was really hurting. And I was like, what's wrong? And then it started. Big Pat, yes. I've got to look on Facebook, do I? I'm doing a live on Facebook at the moment. We're getting the usual Melbourne really unsettled, volatile spring weather. Quite warm, then really cool, and a bit of rain here and there. Yes, like it's probably raining tomorrow, maybe even a thunderstorm. And carrying on to Thursday and easing off on Friday. So I might take Friday in the city because I'm working out in the suburbs now, but I can work in the city some days. And if it's a nicer day on Friday, a good opportunity to have lunch somewhere nice. Somewhere rooftopy, maybe. That would be nice. A rooftop luncheon. What are you telling me, Big Pat? No, I don't see anything, Pat. Sorry. Yes, there's lots of nice places in Melbourne. Dr. Obama, no, believe it or not, I did not watch the Queen's speech. What did you say? Boris Johnson's a cunt. Of all the prime ministers I've had to deal with in the last many decades, he's by far the worst. The fuck is wrong with you people? I imagine she said something like that. That would make sense to me. But yeah, it's got to be weird old times for her at the moment. All the shit she's been through in all the years, just the fucking clown show, the absolute fucking clown show that is going on at the moment. It's ridiculous. Oh no, Abigail, you got food poisoning in Hobart. You saw the server handling money with a gloved hand. 9 out of 10 people. I've noticed when, food handlers who also taking money, they're supposed to have one gloved hand, and that's the only one that touches the food, and one hand without glove that handles money, because money is dirty. People have germs and they handle stuff. Money is dirty. And 9 out of 10 times, I reckon, you see food handlers cross-contaminate. They hold money with the gloved hand, or they handle the food with the ungloved hand. I reckon easy 9 out of 10 times you see food handlers cross-contaminate. I haven't had food poisoning for a little while. Food poisoning, in my experience, is often not as bad as a stomach virus. It can be more intense and acute, but doesn't last as long. Dr. Brown, we're saying the Queen read a dictionary. She actually said, unite the country by leaving the EU. Really? That's interesting. Hey, Lion Spider. Justin, we will never know what the Queen really thinks because she is incredibly well trained in not sharing her personal opinions. It's like she didn't get formal schooling. Like she didn't go to a school. She was privately educated, and the overwhelming majority of her education was on constitutional things. What her social and constitutional guidelines were. Guidelines is not the right word. Constraints. Anyway, responsibilities. I think that's the word I was looking for. Responsibilities. Well, Lion Spider, I'm glad that you worked in places with strict protocols. I'm just talking about takeaway places and like food hall places that I've seen where they're doing, one gloved, one ungloved hand, and the ungloved hand's meant to handle money and the gloved hand's meant to handle food. I reckon 9 out of 10 times I've seen them cross-contaminate. Dr. Brown, what's a fast food joint iconic Victoria? In Adelaide's KFC. I'm going to sound like a real wanker if, say, I don't really go to the chain stuff the big chains are McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, and KFC, obviously. Of those, I would probably go to... AIDSy's trying to come back, I think.
I don't want
Wait,
to go.
Look, are you back?
I am so back. It's ridiculous. I fucking told you about those UFOs you've been fucking creeping in your backyard, and fucking they've been reaching out to me mentally, and then we go, easy, you've seen Valerian, you know what it's like. You've got guys who look like chicks, which works for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm bisexual and not a nonce.
So just remind me in the animated series.
I've got a boyfriend who's half my age, but I met him in his mid-20s. He's about to hit 30.
Yeah.
Shut up off the house.
That's just cradle snatching. That's not actually nonsense.
Yeah,
but.
That's right. That's weird.
But
where would that come from? I don't understand.
Oh, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a real sad fucking loser, and that's their go-to insult. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It's
like a flame war. It's like you expect that you're arguing with one person, you're in fact arguing with 15-year-olds.
Yeah, it's just a very sad loser. It's like my personal favorite is like, so a lot of them, their go-to argument is to call you a neckbeard, but a neckbeard is a particular thing, and it's the guy who only has the beard on his neck. Like I don't know, that became a thing in like the 90s. It was super weird to actually shave your face, but have the hair down here. And I'm literally the opposite. I shave my neck and have my beard on my face. So it's just like, God, dude, you've got fuck all to offer, do you? It's just like you're saying something that's literally the opposite of what I am. And it's like every now and then they go, yeah, fucking incel. And I go, well, on the plus side, at least you know incel is an insult.
Well, okay, there you go. I have been doing my incel research.
Yes.
And I more and more find that what we've got is the problem of our generation, which is that they don't clean up after themselves. Now, let me explain.
Please do.
While you get some yellow paint and feed your aliens outside. Okay, so what we've been told by our consumer culture is that you can buy stuff and just have it, and that will make it cool, and you should just buy stuff. And you're not told to, you're told to party all the time, but you're not told that you're obligated to clean up the party once you're done. You're supposed to have stuff that's fun come to you. And you're not meant to design, make, or have that fun that you're supposed to do. It's just supposed to come to you. You're not supposed to do anything about it. You're supposed to just have it. And you're supposed to expect it. And you're supposed to just get it because it's rightfully yours. And, well, it's fucking not. No one's managing their expectations. No one's managing the communication for other people's expectations. So you get your incels. And I refuse to just hammer incels just out of immediate spite, because they're not trained. You know, it's easy for you and me who get our end away fairly regularly to go hard on incels, but who's training them? You say you're talking metaphorically. No, I'm not. I'm talking.
Didn't think you were.
Reality. You know, those incel individuals have never been trained in communication, expectation management. They're just put out as adults and told, pay your fucking rent, pay your bills, get a job. they've been told or taught to cook or clean your house, or you need exit mold. You're going to need some spray and wipe. You're going to have to clean up the roundy thing that happens in your microwave more than once every 6 months. These individuals then go, I want the sex on my penis, and they expect, like everything else, for the sex to jump on their penis, without any input from themselves. And I've been looking at this, and they talk about Chads and Stacys,
Yes.
and they talk about the other male name, and Becky's, and it's not a real thing, but they think it's a real thing because it's their experience, and their experience is basically, oh, I've missed out. It's like, no, guys, you haven't missed out. In fact, you're young and you've got your entire fucking life ahead of you, and you haven't got rheumatoid arthritis like someone in this bloody broadcast.
Yeah.
And it's not an alien thief, I can tell you that much. Do you know yellow paint has uranium in it?
That was with the conversation earlier.
Yeah, you could feed your aliens yellow paint.
Yeah.
It'd be funny because they'd lick it up like dogs. Anyway, so your incels have never been shown anything, right? So incel tip number 1, people outside your bubble have different expectations than you. Managing expectations is respect. I have expectations of myself. I expect of myself to be the better guy, to be the better human. I expect of others to be good humans as well. I don't expect to be treated like shit, and I am never going to treat anyone else like shit. Not going to happen, right? And then you get your next fucking trick, which is responsibility. Now, people go, oh, responsibility's fucked and I don't like it and I don't want to be responsible for anything, right? And this really, really hit home when I saw an ad for Apple. It was the new Apple phone, right?
Yes.
And this cool kid gets his new Apple phone in the box, and he's walking through perfect sunrise, just the beach. I don't know how he fucking collected it there. But anyway, he's walking through perfect sunrise, the beach, and he gets his new Apple phone, and he opens it and throws away the packaging to get to the phone. And I'm going, well, where's the bin, dickhead? Why are you littering the ground with packaging? In 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the sea than fish, and I like flake, not fucking polymers. Unzo, you basically get responsibility. Responsibility is not having to deal with other people's shit. It is taking on ownership of a situation or a thing. Now, if you think about ownership, what you've got there is power. I have taken on the ownership of talking to another person with respect. I have power over that respect. So if I have responsibility for myself and the shit that I do, I have power within myself. I'm a powerful person. I'm a powerful person who has expectation management. Now, then, you get into communication and you've got your 3 biggies covered. Communication is really tricky on its own. But okay, think about expectation management. Is she on the same page expectation-wise as I am? Am I responsible enough to go, oh, hang on, she's fucking not into it. I'm going to back the fuck off, not be a stalking prick and go with someone else. Find someone else. Oh, I've been rejected. No, dude, you've not been rejected. You just missed the connection. All right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. There's no rejection. Don't, oh, I really love this girl. You might be in lust with this girl. It might. But, sometimes you just don't connect with people. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to connect with someone else. I guarantee it. I fucking guarantee it. And so when you connect, it's going to be fine. When you don't connect, don't be fucking, miserable for fucking 6 years because she didn't fucking get on to you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's, okay, fuck, you might feel shitty for a week, It's okay. So have fucking your mates round, drink heaps of piss and listen to Adele songs, The same sort of thing when you get a new girlfriend, you get your mates around, get on the piss and listen to Adele songs. It works both ways. It's fucking awesome. I've done it, with Boss of the House. And so don't worry about rejection. There is no fucking rejection. It's just you missed the connection. You'll get one. You'll get one. You'll get many, actually. So why am I saying all this shit? Well, because me and Angry reckoned that I'd slept with about 80 or 90 people. We reckoned about that. Yeah, it might be more, but I don't know. I was going conservatively 80. Anywho, so I've done this before a couple times, and so I think I can talk about it. So directly to your incels, I'm not fucking putting hate on. I'm going, right, you've not had any training. You've not had any fucking... What's happening is people are doing the post facto criticize. Monday's experts,
Yes.
I fucking hate that. I had that my entire fucking life, my entire childhood, my entire fucking early adult life. It was fucking, you fucked up. It was like, well, where was the training? Where was the guidance before I fucking tried to do this shit? So rather than being Monday's experts for the incels, I'm going, well, okay, hang on, guys. Fucking manage your expectations, okay? Manage her expectations. Get on the same fucking page. Be responsible for yourself. Have power over yourself. You don't have to be responsible for her. That's up to her. In fact, it's quite important for her to be responsible for her, because you might start to go, oh, she's really rude to waiters. And for me, big red flag.
That's
She
the
might
old
be texting. Yeah.
One of the most solid tests you can do if you're with someone and they're nice to you but rude to people who serve you, they're not good.
They're not okay. They're not okay. Because that's going to turn on you real quick. Yeah. Listen, just out of the blue, guys get pissed off and they hit women. And it's not okay. It's not good. And you'll go to jail and you'll be an asshole, and you should be. And why does that happen? And one of the things that does happen is because she can't fucking hit you, what she'll do is wind you up. And I've seen guys sit on the couch and she'll sit there for like an hour. Not going to explain the same incels as right. And she'll sit there for an hour or two, winding him up, until he loses his fucking temper and fucking hits her one. Well, as soon as you hit a woman, you've lost the argument. You've totally lost the argument. It's over. and he should go to jail for that. So what you're fucking gonna do is, if you start to find you're getting wound up, you go, I'm not gonna fucking get myself involved in this shit. It's like, yeah, you keep going, fucking hun. You get whatever shit you need out of your system, because I'm fucking gonna sit here and either talk to me mates or watch the game. Or I'm gonna just go, hun, do you want to walk on the seashore? Huh? I'm fucking trying to piss you off. Well, I'm not. I'm going to be pissed off because I'm managing my expectations, and I have power over myself, and I don't need to fucking get upset about your shit. Oh, you got a small dick and no job. I'm a grower, not a shower. And no one's got a fucking job, so let's go to the beach. It's cheap and it's gorgeous. Manage how. Why are you getting angry? The only person who can get angry in any situation is you. That no one else can control your emotions. Only you can control your emotions. So next week we'll be talking about communication and stalking. But think about that. Think about your expectations and think about your responsibility. Your expectations is respect. Your responsibility is power. And these things are related to the self and the other. All right, matey, angry. Let's fucking keep on going, because we.
Yeah, I think
kept that fairly tight.
that was great. I think that's one of the reasons Jordan Peterson is so popular with incels and just generally disaffected young men. Is he's a daddy figure, and for some reason they've rejected their own parents, or maybe they just had shitty parents. Maybe they had no parenting. Maybe they were never taught any life skills.
A lot of the research I've done is, the parents are a bit fucked. Dad's fucked off early on. Mum's been a little bit fucking inconsistent. So they don't know what women are. The sister's been a total bitch, and you fucking get that. So all women are a total bitch. And it's not, shitty home life. Where's the training? My ears are on a funny angle, and I've got to do that, or I'm going to look fucking strange for the rest of the night. So there's a lot of that. Again, no training. It's like, what are you supposed to fucking do if you don't know what to do? And anyway, what's this guy? Oh, you were saying this guy, yeah, right.
Jordan Peterson, Canadian. I know he was a philosophy professor, and he's basically made a name for himself by championing shithead right-wing political ideas, like he's a cunt because he just he obfuscates everything. He never communicates clearly. So when you say, well, that's fucked, it sounds like you're saying that women deserve to be raped. He's going, I never said that. No, but you said women wearing lipstick to work is a sexual display.
Men can hardly be explained. He's all saying, come and grab me, You know what's fucking odd? I fucking had a big talk to one of my girlfriends about this. And I was saying, fucking, why do women dress the way they do without wanting a guy? Because there was one chick who ran to our house because she was freaking out because this guy was after her. And so we clearly let her in and shut the door. And he's like banging on the door, and I fucking opened the door and said, hello, if you don't stop banging on the door, I'm going to start banging on you. And he's fucked off. And then I'm talking with her later and going, if they dress like that, why don't they want a guy? And she's pointed out, women don't dress for guys. They dress for their own circle of friends. That's who they dress for. That's who they make up for. A guy's a guy. A guy's going to go for you if you wear a fucking sack, right? It doesn't matter. Guys don't give a shit. It's for the other chicks. And so you get these assholes going, oh, she dressed seductively, so she wanted it. Like, fuck off.
But Jordan Peterson's not the only one of these right-wing fuckheads who pulls this, women dress provocatively, like makeup is a provocative display. And it's like, you hypocritical pieces of shit would be the first one to criticize and humiliate a woman who didn't wear makeup in the workplace, who didn't have her hair done, who wasn't wearing nice clothes. It's just, and that probably bugs me about these fucking wankers more than anything, is that they're bad faith arguing hypocrites. It's like they're going like, oh, well, then why do women do this sexual display at work? It's just like, because fuckwits like you wouldn't allow them not to.
Yeah, and they're fucking, they're forced to, they have basically a uniform to wear. And it's more than, you expect. I'm just quickly looking at the other. Can you fucking check out that? Because I can't. Easy personal question. How did you find out you had autism? I got someone in my family does psychology, and he said, "Listen, I have had a thought. What's your thought, big guy?" And he said, "Well, I think autism runs in our family." And I'm going, bullshit. And he goes, "No, fucking get a test." And so I've gone to 2 psychologists that he's recommended. Fuck me. It's come back yes. And I was very, very lucky to be very high functioning. The kind of autism I've got really only registers in a very slight way, but in a very real way. And when I was a very small kid, I was the freak in the corner who was the complete reject, just the weird kid in the corner. And then as I grew up, I was very gullible. People could fuck me over very quickly because I didn't understand what anyone was doing or saying. I didn't understand how their words hooked up with their actions. And then I managed to get a couple of good mates, and not them, but another person. I managed to get some sex, and a couple of good mates managed to get me some drugs. And I've gone, okay, so this sex and drugs thing, fucking all right. And I want lots more of that. And so I thought, I've got to connect with people so I can fucking get lots of sex and drugs. Bang. So I started to study people. I started to study what they said and then what they did. And then I started to study how they ran their lives in a systematic way. And I kept on doing. I started to. One of the first things I worked out was people look in each other's eyes, but not for a long time. You've got to look away every now and again. So it's actually on 3, 5, 7, and 9. So I used to count 1, 2, 3, look away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then look away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, look away. And nowadays I still count, but it's so ingrained that I don't think about it anymore. And really, people will find me. I am still a weird kid in the corner. That's true. PBR Street Gang. It is fucking real.
Like that one.
And people will find me with my head down, staring at the floor, just listening. If I'm in a group of people that I'm really comfortable with, I don't looking at anyone. People say that all the fucking time, and I have so I still have difficulty with personal space. I feel very uncomfortable when I'm with people. Easy to describe me most of the time. It's even, I know, right? There's a lot more autism out there than. See, this is the thing with this fucking stupid anti-vaxxer shit. They're saying the vaccines are doing it. No, fucking spectrum people are being diagnosed. Fucking way more than they used to be. And, if I was diagnosed as a kid, I wouldn't have had to push shit uphill with me nose for fucking 15 years. And I don't spell all right very well at all. Thank fuck for computers. And how is speech to text recognition fucking awesome? So, basically I kept on studying people and got really good at it. I am actually really good at it these days. I was in a car with another comedian, and we'd stopped at a zebra crossing, and these couple were holding hands, and they went across, and I went, "Oh, that's so sad." And he said, "What are you doing, man?" And I said, "Oh, they're about to break up."
Oh God!
And he's going, "What the fuck?" And I had to explain to him, all of the details. And this guy's gone, "Oh," and we've raced to his place where he's turned on the cable TV and said, "Okay, we're going to watch the poker games now," because he was poker. So we're watching poker games. And he said, "Tell me who's going to fold, who's going to go, who's going to do this." And I went, "Okay, she's going to fold. He's bluffing. This one's got the nuts, but he's too aggressive. They're all gonna run, and this one's just gonna fold." And bang, 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 bang. It all just happened in order. And this guy's going, "Oh, ha, ha, ha." So we watched 3 programs, and I nailed fucking 95% of the plays. And he's got like cha-ching in his eyes. And then he's tried to teach me how to do odds, pot odds, and the pyramids. And I can't do mathematics.
He's trying to Rain Man you.
And I couldn't do the adding and subtracting, and he was 3 months we tried this, and at the end of it, because he just saw millions of dollars just go up in flames, and he's still angry about it today. Not at me, but at the situation.
That he couldn't Rain Man you. He's going to take you into the casinos and clean up.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. He was gonna point me in the right direction, and then he was gonna move in and offer me a drink, and then we would fuck off before the security would come around and go, "Yeah, you're playing us." And then we, hit the roulette table, and we'd hit the craps table, and we were just a couple of guys having fun, and then we'd hit the poker game again. And more cash, and then when we burned enough cash, we'd go to the cage, chip out, and fuck off. And eventually we'd become high rollers. And I'd have sunglasses, and I'd have a tie. Except I wouldn't have it all the way up because it'd be really cool and really wide and have yellow things on it.
Yeah.
There
was a gambling movie. Oh God, it was ages ago. Like a young Matt Damon. Like it's probably 20 years ago. Called Rounders. And Rounder is a slang for someone who plays cards as a job. Like they're never aiming to win big. They're just aiming to win consistently, so they have an income, and they play underground games all over the city, and they just grind away. They're not a kingpin, they're not a high roller. They just play like it's a 40 to 100-hour week, and they win enough that it's their job. They're called rounders. And Matt Damon's character has a desire to win big in it, and of course burns him. That's right, PBR. Ed Norton's in it as well, and John Malkovich and John Turturro's in it. It's got a good cast. But the bit I was going to bring up is at one point, Matt Damon, possibly with John Turturro, I don't know, but he goes to Atlantic City. See, they're based in New York, and they just play all these basically illegal games all the time. And going to Atlantic City for the legal gambling is like a holiday. And by sheer coincidence, he ends up at this place, and they're playing poker, and there's like 4 other people from his circle in New York there, and he's going like, what's the fucking chance? Like, what the hell?
What the hell?
Like, and then they're like, but there's like more seats at the table. So what ends up happening is they do all stay at this table, and they just clean out anyone else who comes to the table. And your little voiceover saying, we weren't cheating, we weren't playing with each other, but we weren't playing against each other. We knew enough to know who was going to take a hand, and so everyone else would back up, and we would just shaft anyone who came to the table. And their style of play was so obvious. The people who thought if they acted nervous when they had a good hand, we'd fall for it. Or if they acted really confident when they were bluffing, that we'd fall for it. And they just spend the day cleaning out tourist after tourist after tourist after tourist, and it's like fishing for them. They're just like, okay, here's another one, reel them in, empty their wallet.
My gambling poker friend said, and because he's very good at it, said when he plays the tables, he said, I'm winning not because I'm playing my cards, it's because I'm playing your cards. And if you think it through, it's the mathematics of it, and it's very good at the mathematics of it. The weird thing is, I'm very good at the high-end mathematics. I can explain to you why relativity works, and I can explain to you why QED quantum works. And at the moment, it's really exciting because we've discovered that chlorophyll in plants, in leaves, looks like it's got quantum effects and probably entanglement to make it go, because it's a really efficient way to get light into your leaf and make it power up your leaf. Looks like humans have quantum processes in their brain, because that looks like now it's not the actual nerves in your brain that make thought. It looks like it's the corners. It looks like it's the shadows of the patterns that make the thought. Every time you have a memory and you take it out of the box and look at it, you change it every single time. And what that looks like is it looks like quantum physics, because it looks like you're measuring the
act of observing changes the measurement.
Act of observing changes the flow of subatomic particles. So it looks like a quantum process. Anyway, moving along.
I'm going to move along because I actually named this broadcast Christopher Columbus is in the bad place, because in the US it's Christopher Columbus Day.
Go, Chris!
And a lot of people reject that, mainly because of all the rape, slavery, and genocide that Columbus propagated. So a lot of people actually refer to the same day as being Indigenous Peoples Day. So conservatives in the US are really up in arms about it. And anyone who's not conservative is kind of happy to antagonize the Columbus worshippers, because he was a rapist, he was a slaver, he was responsible for genocides. He was also a fucking con man and a grifter. And the idea that this weird deification of him having discovered America shouldn't be challenged is absolutely ridiculous. So he's not even close to the first European to land on the American continent. He was beaten by hundreds.
Were up there so far ahead and had fucking contact with the local natives. Initially, it was we're going to kill each other. And then after, 50 or 100 years, they were like, so, here you go. Come over for a barbecue. Yeah, right. Fucking, yeah, there we are. Yeah. Oh, we've got the festival on. Oh, shit. Do you want to come? Yeah, I'll fucking go to that. So we know that through the archaeological record of the Newfoundland places and the Viking sagas, which are quite fucking accurate. Because it was that Viking show. They go through the Edda, they go through the sagas, and they point at fucking buildings and say, yeah, that's the building in the saga, and it's 1,000 years old. And then they point at another building, that's the other building in the saga, and it's like, shit, it's really there. And it's like, oh yeah, it's actually all this shit really happened. And so also in the sagas, the Vikings went to Newfoundland and set up a whole community. The other thing is that they think the Chinese got there. Maybe.
Oh, they got all sorts of places. I'm going to show you something. This is hilarious. At the risk of running into copyright problems, but I've got a devil may care attitude. I'm going to play 5 seconds or so. This is from the TV series American Gods, which is based on the Neil Gaiman book American Gods. The central premise of this, and Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett both use this in a couple of books, that the act of belief makes something real. If people believe in a god, that act in and of itself makes the god real, and the degree of belief increases the power of the god. And because America has the world's diaspora there, basically versions of virtually every god in history roam America, because at some point the people from the various belief systems set foot in America and they brought their god with them. Like the central character running it is Mr. Wednesday. Who's Wednesday named after?
Yes.
Woden's Day is Odin. And they're showing how the Norse idea first arrived in America. This is some Vikings who got lost and they don't have a great time. Now I'm going to do the screen. Wait a sec. I'm going to do the screen share thing. I've got to try and get this right. So share screen. I'm going to do the Chrome tab. And it's this one, start. So that should be sharing. And now I'm going to... This is just like... I'm only going to play a couple of seconds. But this is Vikings. They've just made landfall. And they're wondering what's in those trees.
Having a shit of a day. Maybe fuck. Maybe shields up, lads. Yeah, back to the boat.
And basically, they never make any headway. Any attempt to go off the beach is instant death, and they have to go. But that vision of the million arrows hitting that guy is so good.
And if you think it through, right, you get off the boat and go, thank fuck for that. Thank all the Asgard gods for that, because I've had a shitty time on this boat. We didn't know where we're going. Fucking, we've made landfall. Let's try and... I need a piss anyway, so let's try and get through and find out what's going on here. And slap, I appear to have arrows in me in an extreme way. I'm having a shitty day.
And it's made worse because they're becalmed. There's no wind, so they can't leave. There's no food and no fresh water and no wind. And nasty pointy death waits for them if they try and go inland. And they end up making a sacrifice to Odin to get the winds to come. And that's how Odin first lands in America, because they made this sacrifice to him. But that's just that visual of the million arrows hitting that. Obviously completely unrealistic and done solely because someone came up with this really cool idea for a visual effect, and it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a cool effect. In fact, the First Nations folks didn't do that. You might have 3 arrows in you.
They're not going to waste.
They only knocked out 1, and it was because they had precision. You know, you usually had an arrow in your fucking eye or your throat or your and this fucking fucked me up through your ribs, through to the other rib, and you think, oh yeah, whatever. No, it doesn't matter where it hits. You're going to get sepsis and die. You're dead within 3 days, and that's a fucked way to die. You know, you might even be able to run around and fight for 3 minutes, but you're trying to get back home because you're just going, I am in so much pain, and it gets worse and keeps on getting worse, and yellow shit comes out of both wounds, and no one knows how to get the arrow out, and it's just a shitty way to die. So your First Nations folks in America used eye, throat, ribs, and so they didn't usually spend a lot of arrows. It was usually, you know, and sometimes you could get 2-3 braves having go at you, so you might pick up 3 arrows because they didn't know that someone else was crosshairing you, but they'd loose 1 arrow at a time. Because if you think about it, fuck, you're on a horse without stirrups, and you're aiming that around, and you've got to shoot arrows. You don't want to fucking shoot a lot because you don't want to stop and pick them up. Just hang on with your musket there, big fella. I've got to get some arrows back. Just fucking settle down. Do you know the First Nations folks used to wipe out the fucking Federal Army because they bought Remingtons, and they were better than what the Federal Army had. And so they had repeating rivals, and the Federal Army didn't. Fucking wiped out because your First Nations folks were really up with does it kill you? We'll have one. Anyway, please go on.
So you reminded me of the Warren Ellis comic Crazy. Warren Ellis is a British writer, mostly writes comics. He's written a couple novels. I've read one of his novels, which was very good, but he is one of my favorite comic writers. One of his more famous ones is a sci-fi one called Transmetropolitan. I think I showed you a bit of one. He did this one of British Circle of Magicians, and one of whom was a British Marine, and he's off in Afghanistan using his powers to fucking go invisible and kill the Taliban and whatnot. And but Crazy is about a battle in the 100 Years' War, where basically England took it to France. They actually thought the French are more powerful than us, and we need to fuck them up for a bit. We're just going to actually invade France cause havoc by, I think the phrase he uses, by being rotten cunts to all the villages and whatnot. Because in France, only the nobility were allowed to be armed, where the English army was commoners. And the French army was nobles and mercenaries. And the English army was nasty commoners who were going off just causing havoc in all these villages, who were then getting upset.
Football.
Yeah, who were getting upset at their nobles for not protecting them. And the English have gone, we've caused as much havoc as we can. We need to fuck off. But they're in danger of being overtaken. The nobles have gotten really angry and come out with their heavy cavalry. And they've got these Italian mercenaries who have crossbows. Now, the British longbowmen, the British practice the longbow for ages. And that's all about range. It's not trying to shoot someone through the eye. It's like 100 or several hundred of you can all drop an arrow, you say 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, and they get range really well. So you just rain arrows down on people. You don't have to be accurate because you're just raining arrows on them. But a crossbow has twice the range of a bow and arrow, even a longbow. And so they're like, oh man, if they catch us, we are fucked. And they realize the weather turns.
You get a longbow bolt anywhere near you.
Yeah.
And you're in a big lot of trouble. Yeah.
And the weather is turning, and they've slowed down. They are going to get caught. The nobles with their Italian crossbow mercenaries are going to catch them, and they're like, "This is going to fucking end badly." But the reason you made me think of it was when you're talking about getting sepsis from an arrow thing. When he's getting ready for the narrator of the stuff is an English commoner who's a longbowman, and when they're getting ready for the battle, he doesn't have the arrows in a quiver. He takes them out of a quiver and puts them point first in the ground. And he's going, that's not for convenience. That's to get fucking dirt all over my arrows.
Yes,
so if it goes into someone, so does the dirt. And they go one step further with their knives and swords. They stick them in the privy when they're going. So it's like, I just need to graze someone and the fucker's going to die.
Exactly. They would piss on them. They would, if they had any paper, they'd wipe their knife. Not their eating knife, and they did separate them out.
There you go. Beck's excited. He's tuned in just as we're talking about crossbows. This is good crossbow talk because what ends up happening, the English get caught by this advancing French army with their Italian mercenaries at the town of Crecy. They haven't made it. They're trying to get back to the coast in their boats, and they haven't made it. And they've got to turn and fight. And they're basically like, we are so fucked. This is going to be ugly. And what another skill the longbowmen had is they didn't leave the longbows strung. They would, particularly when it's raining, and it's raining on them almost the whole time here, they keep the string fresh and taut. They like have it under their hat. And they can bend and string the longbow in about 5 seconds. It's like, we're ready to go. Whereas to do the same thing with a crossbow takes
like an hour.
Ages. So when they're finally caught by this advancing French nobles and the Italian crossbow mercenaries, of course, the crossbows go out first, but they've been marching in the rain with their crossbows strung because it takes too long to string a crossbow, and it's slackened the cable. So the crossbow, which is meant to go, I forget how far, say it's 500 meters, and they all line up, and the English are going, we are so fucked. And the crossbow bolts fall at about 200 meters, and they're like, oh, you're joking.
You're joking. On, baby.
And so they just go and string their crossbows 300 meters easy. And they're just raining arrows down on these crossbow guys who die or run. But then the nobles, who are heavy cavalry against foot soldiers, go like, we're going to run you down. But it's like, no, we've got several hundred longbowmen. And we're just going to cut you down as you advance on it.
And they were very into cutting like improvised pikes. And they'd set them on the ground, and when the horses came, they'd raise.
They had all sorts of traps for the horses.
Raise these pikes, and hundreds of them would come up, and the horses would just go splash. And then you've got a guy in armor on the ground, and and it's a myth that they couldn't fight once they were dehorsed. They could fight, but with 12 blokes around you, even if you're good, you're going to run out of time.
Oh yeah, they're just getting arrows rained down on them, and they're getting thrown from the horses. And the nasty English with their dirty swords and knives are just going to all of. And apparently, it's historically accurate that they wiped out an enormous chunk of the French aristocracy, like a really significant percentage of the French aristocracy were killed in this battle. And it was, and the English suffered hardly any casualties. Like literally everything went wrong for the French, and the English, who thought they were going to get wiped out, suffered hardly any casualties, and they just slaughtered the French aristocracy. And the thing is, the Warren Ellis's telling of it in this comic is just full of the swears. It's this English commoner, and he's just swearing. And I saw a review for it on like Amazon or something once with this person saying, I thought this was going to be an historical thing, and it's full of crude language and crassness and wonder. And I was kind of like, well, you're not wrong.
You're fucking kidding me. These are soldiers being shot at. I have never seen any kind of documentary footage where soldiers are getting shot at and they're being sweet. And it's funny if you watch documentary footage of an English or British submarine, you'll see captains getting on the periscope, coming around and going, get out of that fucking way, because they want to, and they go, torpedo here, now you fuck, to just, and their crew's calling out instructions because they repeat the instructions down the phone, and they're trying to get off bloody Tomahawk missiles and all the rest of it, and then get away. It's all very well to be underwater and bloody quiet, but as soon as you let a missile go, everyone knows the fuck where you are.
Yeah.
And so they'll run the reactors at 104% for a little while to just run, and then they'll do it again. And of course, to do all this, you've got to know where you are. To do that, you've got to get GPS. To do that, you've got to come up to the surface. As soon as you come up to the surface, everyone can see you. Then you've got to hit the, it's all this shit. And so soldiers are not nice. It's like when Prince Harry was in that bloody Las Vegas.
Their party when they were on leave.
When he was naked.
Like naked people everywhere.
And, he had his cock out and was clearly pissed and giving it to him. People going, oh, that's shocking. Well, okay, here you go. You are born, you've lost your mother, and you, for the rest of your life, blame the press for that. Then you are, without any fucking choice, thrown into the army, and then you get shot at by motherfuckers for 6 months. Then you get to go back to Las Vegas and have 2 weeks off. I think I would get on the piss and work as much as I can, because that after that 2 weeks you're going back to fucking Afghanistan to get shot at by motherfuckers again. I would like to get these press people and give them 8 weeks training and then put them straight on the battlefield and see when we bring them back how they behave. And then I'd like to see them on the battlefield and how they communicate to their friends. Because you know what? It's very frightening. The amount of violence in a real battle is just extreme. The amount of noise that is on a battlefield is, if you've ever heard a gun go off, just one gun, the noise is just incredible. And if you've got hundreds of guns, even 1,000 guns going off, and a lot of these, remember, are machine guns, repeating fire from both ends. And you've got fucking IEDs going off, and you've got artillery going off, and then you've got fucking planes fucking dropping bombs, and they're fucking loud. Just the engines of the planes will deafen you as they're coming over, especially if they're coming over at fucking, Mach, whatever. So you've got all this assault of, and the other thing is you smell shit and blood as you're going through a battlefield, and your communications devices are basically earpods and a microphone, and you're trying to get hold of where your guys are, where those guys are, and the people with the drones know all this, and they're trying to tell you, but there's other fucking 3 fucking voices in your head, plus your captain, plus your sergeant, plus your mates. What the fuck are you supposed to do? The smells, the noise, the fucking terror of it all does not leave you in a fucking happy place. It puts you in a mentally very fragile state when you do anything. Fucking the next step could be your last. Not cool. Not cool. So, all these soldiers who get fucking hassled about their behaviour, it's like, I just can't fucking be with that. I think it's shit. I tell you what else I think, and I don't care if anyone fucking disagrees with me. I think the Australian government and the American government have let down their soldiers very fucking badly. Because they train him to fucking get real aggressive and shoot people, and then when it's over, they put them on planes and they drop them off in Sydney and go, there, thanks, mate, bye. And they've got all this shit still in their head. And the PTSD is just enormous because of the extreme fucking violence and there's no front anymore. You don't know who you're fighting anymore. The people who you're supposed to be allied with, they call them the green, your locals who are supposed to be on your side. One or two of them will turn around and fucking shoot you. And that's terrifying. You can't even go to base and sleep. Right. So then they drop you off in Sydney and go fucking make your own way to Melbourne. And then all of a sudden you're in fucking home, and it's just, your head's buzzing, and you can't sleep, and you can't fucking readjust, and you're freaking the fuck out. But the government goes, oh no, you're right, thanks, mate. It's like, no, we've got to have serious psychological fucking detraining of our troops. It was serious psychological fucking unwinding of what we've done, and then the injuries and the head fuckery will fucking be a lot less.
And of course, the Americans are orders of magnitude worse. They put their troops through things that are orders of magnitude worse, and their treatment of the troops when they come home is orders of magnitude worse.
Yeah, their fucking healthcare is
absolutely terrible.
They're promised education and healthcare. That's what they're promised over in the States. And they come home and fucking the healthcare is, you'll wait 6 months. See a specialist who'll say, I don't know what your fucking problem is. I'll see you again in 6 months. And until you can fucking your pension's fucked up. I just won't get into the details, but they fuck up your pension. And then your education, which is supposed to be university, is community college. The shittest, cheapest fucking education. They just stick you somewhere. And it's supposed to be Princeton. It's supposed to be fucking Harvard. It's supposed to be fucking a really good uni. No, it's a shit, cheap fucking college. And, fuck you, you'll be right. So, hang on. No. And another thing is, I'm really fucking going off now. Another thing is that what's supposed to be is that when you're a non-citizen and you join up the American military, you're supposed to get your citizenship papers, and you still do, but your family is supposed to be able to come and support you, and they fucking stopped that. And it's like, hang on the fuck. You get these motherfuckers to shoot and get shot for you, and then you don't fucking give them the promise of fucking your family can come over. Oh, it's a bit like an anchor baby. It's fun.
Yeah.
Hang on, no, you've put them in a fucking trench and fucking getting them shot at. You might want to fucking give something back, which is what shits me about the Australian government.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the reason why Australians wear beards today is that the Australian troops over in Afghanistan wear beards, and they wear beards because the Afghanis won't talk to anyone, won't take anyone without a beard seriously, because it means he's still a boy. So
that's only special forces are allowed to do that. Infantry aren't allowed to.
That's right, but it's still,
special forces get away with lots.
It's still most of the Australians have the beard, and that's why it's come here. It just floated over, but that's going to be fashionable. It's going to go out of fashion again soon enough.
Yeah,
and people are not going to see me so fucking grey. But you'll get that. But your beard will come back, and you'll dye it purple. So we're right.
Yeah, I just want to go back a bit because I think Beck came up with the perfect summary of what went wrong for the French at the Battle of Crécy.
Yeah,
they rolled a 1 to hit. And it was a critical fail. They had initiative, but they rolled 1 to hit.
Rolled a 1, not a critical hit. Oh shit! And and the English had the critical hit.
Yes, and unfortunately for the French, the Brits then rolled a 20. So
exactly, and you just think, fuck, there's something wrong with these dice, but their translucency, you can see they're not weighted. Can you hold down the fort for 5 seconds?
Sure. I'll hold down the fort while you run off and do God knows what nefarious thing AIDS is actually up to. It could involve small children. It could involve sacrificial black goats. I mean, it was a full moon, wasn't it? That's when those sorts of satanic rituals happen, And if anyone thinks I'm joking, well, I wasn't joking about the small children, but satanic rituals, I don't know. Yeah, I know we're all talking about how different countries treat veterans really badly. I'd prefer they weren't sent to war in the first place. I'd prefer that the politicians weren't so cavalier with actually launching military operations around the world. But it's an additional insult. It's an additional toxic, shitty thing. And I think the Americans are particularly guilty of this, although it's a fairly widespread problem. Doing this whole, God bless the troops, respect the troops, honor the troops, say thank you for your service, and then actually just shit on them. Don't provide them with any sort of health care. Don't provide them with any sort of infrastructure to support them. It's just that additional bit of contempt on top. I think that governments basically everywhere are far too cavalier with launching military operations, and particularly when it involves what you can only reasonably describe as invasion of other countries. but then they compound that by, after having spouted the platitude of how noble the troops are, they don't give them fucking anything afterwards, and they just really cynically shit on them, and they're spending literally billions of dollars on hardware and technology, and then they're fucking over the veterans over pocket change for basic healthcare, for basic welfare, for basic social support. It's just really sickening, and it's so hard to wrap your head. Just when you think politicians should be required to send their own kids to war, now the fucking politicians themselves should have to fucking go to war. Honestly, I mean, there you go. The man's got his headset back on, ready.
Oh, hello.
There you go. Wait a sec. What am I doing? Adding you back into the stream. There you are.
Hello. Thanks for letting me back on your device.
Yeah.
Was my microphone on for that?
Yep.
Time?
So you didn't hear anything until you picked up the headset, though.
Nice. Did you see a little camera picture of me?
The good folk in the chat didn't.
I'm glad of that.
Yeah.
Glad of that.
Yeah.
We'll chat about that later, Andrew. Hello, good folk in the chat. There's so many people chatting to us. G'day. How are you, everyone? Oh, thanks for coming.
You know, the other thing, for the next research project, I thought of this today because it ties in with a couple of things I've been reading and listening to. And because we've talked about it before, I want you to pull together a little research project on Burke and Wills and how fucking stupid their whole expedition was. Because I know bits and pieces of it, like what they took on their trek was absolutely ridiculous.
Phenomenally stupid. Yeah, they were a fuck up from go to war. And who came back? Which one came back? Was it?
I don't know if either of them came back.
No, they didn't come back. But one of the party came back. One of the guys.
Oh yeah, there were survivors from the party.
Yeah,
but
and
I mean,
one particular one who got, because they left him there because he was sick, and then he was found by blackfellas, and they healed him. And basically, he was there for a couple of months, 3 months with them, and they showed him how to get water, and they showed him how to get food, and they showed him how to fucking deal with, the heat. Don't walk around the middle of the day. It's a fuck thing to do. Find a shady tree, have a sleep. Don't walk around in the middle of the night because dingoes will fucking eat you. So he made it home to Melbourne and went, don't think the guys are coming with. So I'll do a bit of Burke and Wills research.
Yeah, because I read like they took ridiculous shit, like they took a writing desk and they took ridiculous shit. And we'd always joked that it's like, the short version you get taught in Australian schools is complete bullshit about them being noble explorers who died. They were dumb as shit. Like we always joke, they died in an area that was populated. If they didn't look down so much on the blackfellas, they would have gotten help. It's worse than that. After reading Dark Emu, I found out they died within walking distance of massive stores of food and wells with fresh water that the local Indigenous people had there. But they regarded the Indigenous people as such savages that never conceived of them, that these people could feed them. It wasn't just that people were actually living there who could have looked after them. Again, everything we as kids in school in Australia get told about Indigenous Australians is a fucking lie.
Such bullshit.
Like they had permanent settlements, they did agriculture, They did
stone housing, there were fences, there were all this shit that the fucking British went, we don't think we should have that because that proves that they've got land and own it.
So when the squatters, when the farmers expanded outwards, part of their thing was to destroy this infrastructure of the native people, because that made it look like the native people had some right to be there because they had an actual structure and society and permanent settlement. And if you destroyed it...
What used to fascinate me is the squatters initially were actually quite friendly with the locals. What happened then? You got the selectors who came in, and all of a sudden they had neighbours, and all of a sudden there was a lot of fucking tension between selectors, squatters, and the blackfellas who used to take 1 or 2 sheep and 1 or 2 cattle, because they were an easy hit, you know. And the squatters didn't mind. Fucking, they got on. It was cool. But the selectors had to keep all of their sheep and they had to keep all of their cattle. And if the blackfellas came and also too, by this time the squatters get pushed in. So if the blackfellas came out and grabbed one of their animals, it was fucking not on. And the blackfellas are going, you are living in my house. So maybe we can fucking do a deal here. No, you're blackfellas and we're going to shoot you. Well, we're going to spear you back because you're a mob of motherfuckers. And there was a war basically all the way to Western Australia. Didn't hear that in fucking
no, and it continued into the 20th century. That's the other thing you don't hear, that conflict continued into the 20th century, where basically the short version is everything we get told as school kids in Australia about Indigenous Australians is a fucking lie. But yeah, like once the expansion went out and started really pushing the frontier, that's when some of the local folks said, see this pointy thing I've got? I'm going to put it in you if you don't fuck off. And of course, they kill one settler, and the retaliation would be to kill 50 native people, and then the next guy. But again, that's one of the truly funny, or even what the fuck bits in Dark Emu. This white family who were one of the first ones to really push outwards. They were going downriver, and they were going out way further than anyone else. And when this guy in his journal notes, like he found another. He would have probably called it a tribe, but it was another nation that the white people hadn't pushed into yet. And they were shouting something at him while waving sticks. And he took the shout to be a greeting. He literally wrote in his journal, I feel like they were welcoming me and eager to share their land with me. And he wrote down phonetically what he thought they were shouting. And 100 years later, linguists looked at it and went, okay, that doesn't mean anything, but considering the area he was in, the language that was probably spoken, let's try and find something that sounds like what he's written down phonetically. And the most likely thing that was being shouted at him, that he was going, I think they're welcoming me, it was probably fuck off or we'll spear you. It was like a bunch of obvious warriors. He called it sticks. They were probably quite deadly spears.
That blows my mind.
At you and waving something, you go, I think they're saying welcome to the neighborhood.
I think they're saying welcome. If you see a guy with a stick, right, you're not going, he's welcoming me. You're going, he's going to fucking stick it in me. If you see a guy with no stick, then you all of a sudden go, all right, fucking maybe we can get, shake hands. So one of the things that some of the people used to do when they would push out and they'd see guys with sticks is they go, right, and they take off their clothes. They take off all of their clothes and turn around with their hands up. Turn around with their hands up. And they'd also been told the trick of get something green and come and offer it. And also the other trick is to get the dirt and put it on you. and yell, "Hey, hello, how you going?" and get something green and offer it. And it's like, yeah, all right, he's not an asshole, and he's clearly unarmed. He's clearly fucking not a dick. So you could start a conversation, and you might fucking survive. But you see a bunch of guys with sticks, and this is anywhere. On the planet Earth, see a bunch of guys with sticks yelling at you, and in a fucking language you don't understand. They're not saying hi. They're saying fuck off. So things haven't changed. Sticks now go bang.
Seriously, Dark Emu should be mandatory reading at schools in Australia, because Jesus Christ. And again, even Bruce Pascoe, who wrote it, acknowledges bits of what he's doing is conjecture, but he's basing it on writings from the time, the first 50 years of settlement, and basically an absolutely consistent thing that these people didn't even realize they were recording, but they were just writing down what they saw, and they were misinterpreting it, but they were writing down what they saw. And what they saw was agriculture. What they saw was cultivation. Because they were literally seeing some places, and it was this beautiful, what they thought was grassland, and it was like native rices or native grain, like native wheat, stuff that again the native people did make flour and unleavened bread out of. And the trees were only on the less fertile land. Like the local people had cut down the trees from the most fertile land, where they'd then grown this native grain that they could use as food. And it was all cultivated, and there were repeated journal entries from early settlers describing areas like, look at this place. It looks just like a park at home. It's like it's all, and then they'd finish with, isn't nature wonderful?
Yeah, isn't nature just wonderful?
They're literally describing a cultivated environment, an environment that must have been caused by intervention of humans, and in this case, hundreds of generations of intervention, till they formed a sustainable agriculture that worked in an area that got hardly any fucking rain.
And the other thing too is in the less fertile places of the trees, what they would do is they would burn sections of trees.
Yes.
And they'd burn sections of trees, and then, but not all of it, just sections, right?
Yeah.
And then the new shoots, the new growth would come up, and all the animals would come in to eat it, and then you could fucking shoot them. And, you just hang around and go, go animal.
Yeah, and that was another thing. It was deliberate. While they didn't have fences and shit, they did stuff like that to deliberately cultivate the behavior of native animals so they'd have a food source. And beyond that, they had aquaculture as well. The river people had built, and again, this is the thing in Dark Emu, he says, some of these weirs and other river structures could have been the oldest physical structures made by humans in all of history. This is stuff that permanent structures that could be tens of thousands of years old.
And the oldest fish traps in the world.
Yeah, fish traps. And the settlers destroyed them. But this mind-blowing bit, a guy's written, this family who went upriver, Saf was asking if it was Sydney or Melbourne. These people moved out of Sydney and were going into country. I think this was up towards what's Wagga Wagga now. Like, it's a long way out. This one family was pushing way further upriver than anyone else had. And he finds this area where the local people have built a quite elaborate series of channels that fish would basically swim up. And they come to this bit where there's a dude just sitting there waiting for the fish. And he's going, cool, there's a fish. And he'd lift it out of the water and like smack its head on a rock and go, there's a fish. And so they've built this incredibly complicated system to catch fish. And this guy's, what he wrote in his journal is going, that's such a lazy way to catch fish, typical of these lazy natives. I was like, oh, dude,
Yeah,
He's developed a really complicated system that you would have no idea how to fucking build.
And of course, the other thing,
your answer isn't lazy.
With the fish fucking canals, is that you get your double bunger of the fish canals leaking through the ground and making it fertile for whatever plants you want to put there.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on the farm. And they don't say that the Japanese are fucking lazy for making canals for rice.
Yes.
No. And by the way, the Japanese fish in their rice fields. Just thought I'd put that in.
Yeah.
Must be lazy. It's like, it reminds me of when people get a gastric bypass or they get, gastric surgery.
Yeah.
And they lose, like several hundred kilos. And fucking people say, "Oh, you lost all this weight," and I go, "Yeah, I was like 600 kilos." And they go, "Oh, that's it's cheating."
Yes. Yes.
And you just go, "No, it's saving their life." It's,
Yeah.
A couple of 100 kilos heavy, 700 pounds, and then they get down to usable weight and healthy structures, and fucking, that's cheating. Fuck you. It's and fucking there was always this myth that the blackfellas were lazy.
Yes.
And what, because they always saw them sitting down under trees, doing fuck all, but chatting and painting. Now, what it basically was is they worked out that the blackfellas could put 4 hours a day into hunting and cultivating and be done with it. That was work for the day, right? Because they'd set the system up such that you could. I mean, there were some periods of longer, harder work.
Yes.
But most of the time, you followed the 13 seasons of the year and did whatever was appropriate. It's the right place at the right time and the right thing at the right time. And you'd basically put in your 4 hours a day and everyone's fed and you're good. And you watch the seasons very carefully because a drought can come up and eat you very quickly. And a flood, you can deal with a flood. But just living in trees for fucking a month.
Look, Ashoka raises a point here, and I don't know if this is accurate. He's saying that 90% of Aboriginals were killed by germs. And I know in various parts of the world, Native peoples were deliberately targeted with infection. And there's a secondary thing where Native peoples simply didn't have any resistance to the illnesses of Europeans. I don't know. This is literally, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not enough of a history student to know how big an impact that was on Aboriginal Australians.
The common theory at the moment, and this could change. The common theory at the moment is that
let's say by PCR,
the numbers of Aboriginals, the numbers of blackfellas were always wrongly censored. Not exact.
The census was wrong.
Census. The numbers were always out of whack. And so they would say things like, no, 90% of blackfellas were killed by germs. Well, maybe it was the 90% of blackfellas that you saw.
Yes.
And also, there were the massive wars between the whitefellas and the blackfellas.
Yeah.
And the whitefellas used to claim, "Oh, we shot, whole heaps of blackfellas."
Yes.
And they did. But a whole bunch of whitefellas got, shot too.
Yeah. Bit of trivia. General Custer. I've read one of the potential reasons things got so fucked up for Custer is he believed the census that was taken by is equivalent of public servants who were paid on the basis of how many Native Americans they got to move to a reservation. And in order to justify their pay slip, these public servants vastly exaggerated the number of Native peoples who had agreed to go off to a reservation. So Custer's trooping along with his cavalry division because there's, according to the information he's been given, there should have only been about a tenth the number of Native peoples as were actually there. And so when shit went south at Little Bighorn, it's because his intel was completely wrong, like by a huge margin. He'd been told, oh no, 90% of them agreed and they've gone off to the next state. They just marched off to the reserve, and they hadn't.
No,
so he stumbled right into this massive war party.
2 Gatling guns that he left behind because he thought they might be just difficult to because they were on wheels. They were horse-drawn on wheels. He just thought they might be awkward. It's like, I would have liked a Gatling gun at Little Bighorn. I would have fucking liked 2.
They were pretty spooky weapons.
Yeah. What fucking hand turned.
Well, most people had like friggin' muskets, right? Like single shot, then reload. And you had this thing that you just turned a crank and it just kept shooting, just like rotating through the barrels and pushing a bullet into each barrel and just going bang, 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 bang. And they were heavy caliber too. They would
they were fucking big and nasty. You know what's really weird is the Gatling gun system hasn't actually changed much.
Well, you get those mini guns that are basically a turbocharged Gatling gun.
The same fucking thing. The same thing is it's the Gatling gun system. That's not. It's still the same in in these big fucking ball guns.
Yeah, but they worked out if you have the 6 to 8 rotating barrels, you can fire around 6 to 8 times faster than having to reload each shot. Even with a machine gun, like bang, chunk, reload, bang, and it does that very fast. But when you've got a rotating barrel, it does it 6 to 8 times. So you end up firing hundreds of rounds in a minute.
And also it cools the barrels. If you shoot lots and lots of bullets down a single barrel,
it gets very hot.
It gets very hot, and it'll melt the barrel, which is not what you want because the bullet will explode in your face. And effectively, the rotating barrels with the shitloads of barrels on them cool. They get ready for the next bullet, bang, down it goes. Whoever's on the other side is pushing shit uphill.
Yeah.
You get those A10 tank busters coming in very low, and those Harrier jump jets coming in very low with their Gatling guns, and you don't want to be on the other end of that because that's just a fuck day for you. They're really fast, and lots of planes don't actually carry much ammunition. In the Second World War, the Spitfires had 14 seconds of ammunition, and then you were done. Nothing else, you were just done. And so you had to be very judicious about your fucking targeting. Most fighters don't have a lot of ammunition, but these A10s and the Harriers have a lot of ammunition.
What's the one the Americans love? The Warthog. It's It has that mini gun on the front. Everyone just calls it the Burt because it's the rotating barrels that just throw hundreds of slugs in a minute.
Oh, well, it's a 30 millimeter. It's a 30 millimeter cannon. And it throws them out at a fucking great rate.
Just rips holes in anything that it aims at.
Exactly. You got a tank at the other end of that. You just be shitting yourself.
It's like, no, I'm armored. You go, yeah, but you can't actually withstand 50 armor-piercing rounds hitting you at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's very fucked up in your day. And they keep on fucking going, oh, we're going to retire the A10 because it's old and it's shitty. And they keep on fucking turning up in these little wars with fucking tanks in them and going, we need something to shoot these tanks. And the A10 comes out and shoots these tanks. And then you also get the Harriers, and they go, well, the jump jets concept is fucking getting old. And then all of a sudden, the Marines and the British RAF and Marines fucking need something to fucking protect the troops and the ships. And it's awfully nice to have a go slow, very maneuverable,
takeoff, landing, hovering fighter. Yeah,
and which can carry these days a fuckload of bombs and missiles and nasty shit that will hurt you on the other end. And every time it goes into a conflict, they learn a little bit more. After the Falkland conflict, they went, okay, we need bigger wings and we need missiles because we are going to be fighting planes. Because they always thought, oh no, you're just going to be on the ground, hurting shit for the troops. And they were, but then they fucking had planes looking at them, and they were fucking fast planes with lots of hurty shit on them, and they were going, oh, we might be a bit fucked here. But they weren't, because they flew very well, and their systems were good, and, they managed to knock out these very fucking good French Dassault planes. And so they learn a little bit more, and they get a little bit better every time, and they just don't get rid of them. Same with the A10, they just don't get rid of them. And they're quite achievers of the services that they're in. And fucking now they've got the F-35, is it? The Joint Strike Fighter that no one's got, but everyone's paid for. Fuck me. Australia's paid for several of them. We've paid for like 100 of them, but we've not got one. They've not turned up, and they're 10 years late. And you're just fucking going, oh, guys, I would have liked the money. And things are not good. All the shops are shut. They're closing. I just can't believe our fucking federal government's going, oh, yeah, fucking economy's great. No, it's not. Fucking unemployment's up. Fucking all the shops are shutting. You're in trouble when all the shops are starting to close. And there's a shitload of graffiti everywhere. What are people saying to us on them?
Well, I'm going to say to the people good night because it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed.
All right. Yeah, good night. Thanks for seeing us. Thanks for letting me on your device.
So look after yourself, one and all. It's been a fun-packed evening.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again soon. But until such time as we do, I'm going to say bye for now.
Cheers.